What's going on, beautiful people? Thank you for tuning in once again. You guys already know the message: one family, one heart, one love. We all do this together, okay? Oneness, togetherness, play through this music of life, this journey of life, however you want to look at life. Speaking of leveling up in the game, how do you learn anything faster? How do you learn anything like up to 10 times faster, really, if you really apply yourself? Okay, I have 5 tips for you guys in this video to learn anything from sports to a skill set to just about anything a lot faster, a lot quicker. And we'll start with number 1. Don't reinvent the wheel. What do I mean by don't reinvent the wheel? If you want to learn something, chances are somebody's already done it before. Many people have already done it before, and somebody or a group of people figure out the most optimal way of learning something. So I know, like with language studies, with language learning, there's a certain pattern. I know, like Tim Ferriss came up with this pattern. I honestly don't know shit about it. I read it a long time ago. But essentially, like, you learn certain verbs and you learn certain structures in any language, and you can learn a language like a lot faster by learning certain basic things. And sort of it's the same thing with, like, say you want to do bodyweight training, calisthenics. There are certain ways in which you can train a certain move. Let's say you want to do a handstand or something that will get you to learn it much faster than if you were just like randomly experimenting. So don't reinvent the wheel. See what other people have done, how they've learned it. See what people have come up with in terms of like how to most optimally learn this thing you're trying to learn, and give it a shot. Apply it. See how it is. See how it can help you. In my experience, most of the times, it's good to look at other people's way of learning and combine how different people sort of learn something, and then boom, like, there you go. Don't reinvent the wheel. Don't try to be Superman. Don't try to be a hero. It's already been done many times, and why not just take somebody else's entire learning and apply it to yourself and learn something that much faster. Number 2, focus and don't multitask. If you're trying to do so many things at the same time, as opposed to just focusing on one thing, you're more likely to get a lot more out of just focusing on one thing, being totally present with it, than spreading yourself too thin over many tasks you're trying to do. Okay, so for me, personal example, I like to do bodyweight training, gymnastics, calisthenics, and this is what I found. If I'm trying to do, like, say 4 moves at the same time, let's say I'm trying to do handstands and one arm pull-ups and back levers and human flag all at the same time, I'm training them all at the same time, I find that my efforts don't go very far. But I find that if I just take one move, I'm like, for the next month, 2 months, I'm just gonna focus on this one move. I'm just gonna focus on human flag for the next 2 months. Then when I'm done, I'll move on to the next move. When I'm done, I'll focus on to the next move. I found that I learn much faster that way. I learn much faster. Like, I learn moves a lot quicker, a lot more efficiently, and I just like sort of move on to the next move. I've tried doing a lot of moves, learning a lot of moves at the same time. It just wasn't working. You know, it wasn't working. It's like my energy was dissipated in like so many different moves, and I wasn't getting too far with any of them. So focus. Multitasking is overrated. You know, focus on one task at a time. Rome was not built in a day, right? So one day at a time, one moment at a time, one task at a time. Which brings me to number 3. I think they call it Pareto's rule. 80-20. 20% of what you're going to do is going to get you 80% of the results. So figure out the 20% that you need to do to get 80% of the results. Okay? So like, for example, I can tell you this. My fitness channel, 20% of my videos get me 80% of my views and 80% of my subscribers. However, finding that 80% is work, or that 20% that you need to do, that's hard work on its own. So it's sort of ironic. It's a paradox. But even trying to find that 20% is like, it's work. But once you do, then it's gonna get you 80% of your results. And so you learn a lot faster that way. So for example, you're trying to learn a language, figure out what's the 20% that's gonna get me it's gonna teach me 80% of the language, or what I need in the language, like conversational skills, etc., etc. So that's number 3. Number 4, repeat. Once you figure out your 20%, that gets you 80% of results. Once you're focusing on one thing at a time, so you're focusing on just doing handstands right now, repeat handstands over and over and over and over. So just repetition. But this is the smart type of repetition, because you're applying Pareto's rule, 20% get you 80% of the results. You're applying just the focusing and not multitasking. You're also just not reinventing the wheel. You're looking at what other people have done, look at what the most optimal way to learn something is, and now you're repeating. And number 5, break through the tipping point. There's usually a tipping point in everything we try to learn. Once we get past that tipping point, it's like the learning just becomes accelerated exponentially. So it's sort of an exponential function. You're trying to learn something, it goes like then there's that tipping point where your learning curve goes like boom, like this. So figure that out, and not just keep hammering, repetition, repeat. And then number 5, break through the tipping point. So apply these 5 principles. Guarantee you'll learn most of the things you're trying to learn a lot faster, a lot more efficiently. So that way you can learn more stuff and be more of a badass overall, right? So that's it. Check out my book, 5 Powerful Habits to Dominate Life in All Areas of Life. These are 5 powerful habits. I think in many ways, it's like, I guess you can apply the 20-80 rule here, because these 5 habits, honestly, for me, they give me maybe 70 or 80% of the results that I need in my life. So check it out. It's for free, 22 pages. Link in the description, in the comment as well. I love you guys. Love every single one of you. But don't forget to subscribe, or you're gonna sleep with the fishes.